Hello, hello, our friends. Hope you're well. This is a little Pantheon stream today. Just kind of faffing about, trying it out again. It comes out on, no, I was going to say free to play. It's not, no, like, I think early access is soon. So I thought I'd kind of give it another look. Not really playing much at the moment. And I have to say, I'm not, I'm not, based on, I'm only really just starting again, but kind of based on what I've seen, I'm not sure I would, kind of be scrambling to play the early access, whatever it is. But we'll, yeah, we'll see how we go. We will see how we go. I was just running around gathering stuff to... I'm trying to get an idea of just the introduction, the processes of getting, running around gathering, crafting some stuff yourself, kind of the viability of that, how well it works. It's not going to work very well in early access at the moment, I can tell you that. I'm playing a ranger from the wild. I need to go back and I'm not sure. I'm trying to find running around looking for nodes. Essentially, that seems to be indie MMOs in a nutshell. Yeah, basically. But basically the issue I've got with the game is this hasn't really changed. When this game goes into early access, it's going to be an absolute shit show. And unless you actually don't want to go around gathering stuff and doing some of the introductory quests and whatnot, in which case, you're kind of missing out on the main gameplay loop. I just don't know why nodes are so limited and also take so long to gather. I mean, about an hour or so ago, I kind of gathered some stuff, and I was hunting around that particular area, and like half an hour went past, and the nodes didn't spawn again. It's like I don't understand it. I don't understand. I'm just doing it again, aren't I? just starting an indie MMO, and then just like going like, what the hell? Maybe I should just stop playing them. Maybe. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. I'm going to go back to town. Hopefully I can make some bags for myself. As I said before, I think pretty much for all the games that we play, really, there's a nice little atmosphere running around. I quite like the kind of the volumetric weather stuff and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of alright. Let's just go up here. Someone just came from that way. And have a look around. I'm sure I think if these guys are like the summoner trainer dudes or whatever. Maybe there's something else. Occasionally you'll get some nodes around here, if you're lucky. Sometimes you'll get one round here. No. Not a sausage. Right, so we will go and chuck a few bits in the bank, and then we'll go and do some quests. to hopefully make some bags. I'm playing a ranger, by the way. For what it's worth. Let's just chuck. I think I need those for a quest, actually. The game needs more bank space. I don't like. I like keeping things together, and the food together. And why did that not stack there? The things you put stuff randomly in the bank, it doesn't stack with stuff, the same stuff you already got in the bank, which is a bit dumbass. Okay. Okay, let's go and I think we might have a quest to make a bag potentially. I also don't think I'm not sure if I've turned in this guy's quest yet either. Oh, he wants the potatoes. I'm happy to do that. Skinning though, I don't really want him to have my skins at the moment. Hey mate, how you doing? Because I kind of want those to make bags with. It's just up here is the tailoring stuff. Something else that needs to be dealt with as well. You have to click for every single craft. It should just let you just select however many you've got and just click craft once. I like the sound of the rain pattering on the roof. That's really cool. Okay. Actually, that is really cool. I'm not sure if you can hear it that well, but it really sounds like you're inside and the rain's pattering on the roof. Well, it did anyway. Of course, the other thing the game needs is a way to make the UI smaller. I mean, I'm playing in 4K and the UI is like crazy. So it wants me to make a rucksack, and it wants me to make some burlap. Now I played quite a bit a while ago, but yeah, it's kind of first time back. Beeswax? What the hell? I don't think. Okay, let's go and kill some beeswax. I'm pretty sure that you. Oh, there we go. You can buy some. So I need some burlap twine. I need to make some cloth first. Hang on a minute, did they give me some... How do I make burlap twine? Is that it? So how do I make burlap twine? Let's try and see if I can see my burlap twine. So is this a different... It's a different schematic though. Let's so what have they given me? Is it cloth cord? Is it cloth cord? Hey Liz, how you doing? I'm not sure because I didn't really kind of stop playing it because of the, because of, like, from a content point of view, really. I'd stopped playing it just because, it's just the design. I don't get the design decisions that these games are making primarily. I'm not sure about content. I think there's more content going in all the time. Let's see if there's a recipe for burlap twine. Maybe that's the mistake I'm making. Yeah, I think it's going into like early access pretty soon. Is it beginning of December or something? Maybe. Burlap thread. Burlap twine. There we go. So it must be a recipe that I don't have yet. Okay, fair enough. Can I make some? Oh, God. Oh, la la. Well, that's not done particularly well because I feel that if you come here to do quests and make stuff, bearing in mind you haven't really got a lot of resources because there's not much to find, you would probably come in and just think, right, okay, so I'll make all of those into those, and then that will then allow, and then this stuff will allow me then to make other stuff. But I've come here and I've already used those, so there's a recipe that it didn't give me that I needed for a quest, and I've bought the recipe, and now it wants the original, it wants the first tier stuff, which I've already used my jute fibers because that's just what you would naturally do. Well, that's absolute wank. So now I've got to go out and try and find some more jute fibers. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure things can be like worked out. It's just not very logical. Like, it gives you all the recipes you need for the quests, but then it says, like, but you need to go and buy this one. Okay, that's fine. I'll go and buy that one. But then you buy that one, and you realise you needed a tier 1 crafting item that I think you would just logically use it all to create the tier 2 one. It's just, unless it tells you, unless you've got some kind of, you know, guidance as to not do that. So now I've got to go out and find more jute. My experience of that is pretty much the same as it was when I played before. Is I find more jute nodes walking up my local high street than you do running around a game that actually requires them. So, I think maybe things will be different, you know, when it goes early access in a few weeks or whenever it is. But it's like, oh, saying that, there's a jute plant. Maybe I'll get lucky. But when you can, I mean, I've been running around a fair bit this morning before I started streaming, and the resources that you saw me have there was all I could find. So then if you, when this game goes into early access, say there's a load of players playing on day one, and they get led to a quest giver, you get a note. The very first quest you get leads you to a bloke, and that bloke wants you to go out and do some gathering and crafting quests. And you go out and you're running around and you can't do them because for some bizarre reason the developers just, I don't know, they just don't want people to be able to do the gameplay loop. I don't quite know what they're scared of. That doesn't really make much sense. But then maybe it's not supposed to. I'm not sure. Where are we? Like, we're 20 minutes in. I'm already frustrated with the game, as I was when I stopped playing it before. I know there's a jute node around here, but I gathered it last week, so expecting it to be back now is probably a bit unreasonable. Yeah, essentially. I'm really surprised at how generic all of them are. You know, and I'm including the people's darling at the moment, Monsters and Memories. You know, it's like I've said it before. It's like they're all. It's like they all talk to each other, the developers, and just copying each other's ideas. I mean, this game has got these little treasure chests that spawn around the world randomly, exactly the same as Embers Adrift has got. It's that they all are. I don't understand it. I mean, I just would from an indie game in general, certainly in the outside of the MMO genre, there seems to be quite a lot of creativity going on. But with MMOs, it's very much run around, gather from nodes because we stole this from survival games because people seem to like that. We're not going to give you enough nodes for everyone because I imagine it's some rubbish excuse about the flooding the market, but that's rubbish. MMO markets have never really worked properly. They've always been arse after a short period of time. I don't know why they even bother. I mean, if you want to take a leaf out of anyone's book, a games book, from a gathering crafting point of view, they just play New World for a bit. You know, it's like you can pretty much run out and gather anything you want that you see, but there's still a market for it. You know, there's still people. There are always going to be people that don't. I've said this. I'm just repeating myself. No, I mean, if you're going to have a game, if you're going to introduce a gameplay loop through quests that require you to go out and gather stuff and make some stuff, then you need to make those resources available to everyone, at least initially. And I just think ultimately it doesn't matter to the market, and it never has. I'm struggling to think of a game where the market wasn't shit. And when I say shit, I mean just didn't work, you know. Because it's hard. How can you make an economy work with plastic money? You know, people are obviously not going to treat the economy as a, you know, as a thing, you know, as an important thing, because it's just a virtual currency. And I was playing New World the other day, and I ran around, spent about an hour running around. I must have harvested about 5,000 ore. And I was only running around in a small part of the map. Like, loads of people could be doing it. And I went to the marketplace, and there were loads of people who wanted to buy ore, despite the fact that everyone's gathering it, and there's loads of it. It just doesn't. Oops, sorry, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you might. I think. I mean, we've spoken about this a lot, and I think maybe you're right. I'm not sure if they just want to purposely make things frustrating, or if they've got such little confidence in their game that they need to find a way of. I don't understand this thing about keeping people in your game. If it's a good game, then people will stay in it. You know. How many? Let me just see if. How many of us have? How many years? I mean, I've been playing P99 now for a decade. What the hell? Longer than that, I think I started. And I still go back and play. And you still go back and you go to the same dungeons and you repeat content you've done so many times before. And the reason that you do that is because the combat and the exploration and the immersion is amazing. You know, EverQuest doesn't require you to run around looking for something to pick up off the ground, and I don't mind it. I mean, I enjoy the gathering part of the game, but not when you seem to be purposely, you know, creating this kind of like scarcity of resources that. I think the key thing that New World does from a gathering and crafting point of view. And there's a lot of things that are wrong with the crafting in that game. It's far too grindy. Even more grindy, I think, the Turnham. Like, I seem to be taking a lot longer to grind crafting skills than I did before it was revamped. But what it does is that the tier 1 resources are always valuable. You know, you always need them. If you want to make iron, if you want to make steel, you need iron. If you want to make if you want to make a star metal, you know, you need iron. If you want to make orichalcum, you need iron. It's, you know, it's... Hey, Wasted. Sorry, mate. Yeah, yeah, you need to... I think you need... I'm not sure about the early access that's coming up. But to play at the moment, you need to invest something. And I think also at the moment, you... you can't play all the time at the moment. Unless you're like a big backer. Like, you only get... Yeah, expectations is like I've... This is the first time I've come back and played an MMO recently. Certainly of this type, because I kind of thought to myself, well, look, maybe it's just me. You know, maybe they're not aimed at me. And maybe that's true. You know, I'm not sure. It kind of feels almost like an easy win, really. I mean, maybe it's that old World of Warcraft phrase where you don't know what you want, really. But there seems to be a lot of people, a lot of players certainly on my channel anyway, who want to re-experience EverQuest again, but not necessarily in Norath, and maybe with some quality of life changes, maybe with some different mechanics and stuff like that. And I think these games are kind of trying to do that. But it's the way they're implementing them. I just don't... It doesn't... In indie MMOs, I'm finding, in all of them, is I'm spending far too much time running around and not playing the game. But I'm running around, but I'm playing less time. I'm spending less time playing the game because of enforced mechanics. Whereas in EverQuest, like you know, occasionally, a long time ago, my wife would watch me play EverQuest, and she was going, "Oh, you just seem to spend all your time running around," which is kind of quite true to a point. But in EverQuest, what EverQuest allowed you to do was eventually, you spent most of your time running around, getting to your camp and then dying and getting back to your course. But eventually, that was quite skill based, so that would happen quite a lot at the start. But eventually, it would get to a point where you'd get better at the game. You would die less. You'd spend more time at your camp playing the game and less time running around. Whereas these games are enforcing a gameplay loop where you just have to run around hoping that you'll find something. Now, you don't have to. You know, I could just play like EverQuest and ignore the gathering and the crafting and just run around killing mobs and stuff. And I suppose you could do that. But the game introduces itself to you by asking you to go out and gather and craft some stuff. So it's, you know, it's like... Well, I think they essentially started development again, it seems like, not that long ago. So they're playing catch up, essentially, I think, after all that time. But there is little to differentiate between the games. I mean, I essentially feel like I'm playing Embers Adrift, or Monsters and Memories. Now, Monsters and Memories, to give it its due, from what I've seen, a lot of the systems are not implemented yet. But there does seem to be a lot of systems within the game that are not implemented. Like how, if they'll be implemented and how they'll be implemented, we don't know. But yeah, but this just, I mean, I could just be playing Embers Adrift at this point. Apart from the visuals, it just, the gameplay loop is exactly the same, and there's no real, you know, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's an expectation thing. I guess what can you do at this point? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I look at a game like Project Gorgon and I think, well, there's plenty you can do to make your game more interesting. Yeah, it doesn't make it any better, of course. You chuck, like, I don't know, 10 years worth of money down a drain or whatever. I'm assuming they must have brought over something from the old game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's just a visual change. I'm not sure if this zone, for example, was in the original concept and they've just ported it over visually to the new graphics engine. I'm not sure, but hey, mate, there are some skeletons around, not a huge amount. They come out at night generally. Look at this as well, though. Like I'm level, my character's level 4. I've gained some skill in harvesting, but I mean, it's taking so long to harvest. I've literally just taken my hand away from the mouse and keyboard. Like, what is that all about? It's just right. It just feels like it's road. I know I'm moaning. I do apologise. It just feels like roadblock block after roadblock, though. It's like just to keep you here, but it's not engaging. It's not fun. And I guess at some point, maybe at some point, you get a certain skill and your gathering gets a bit quicker. Maybe you can make yourself a tool that means you gather quicker. But it just, I think we've said it before, but like you need to give a good impression straight away when new players come into your game. And if a new player's got to sit there like that for 10 seconds while you're harvesting a node, you know, it's just not. Some of them are random as well. Like there's a quest where you need potatoes. And you harvest wild vegetables, but you might not always get potato. Well, you might not get any potatoes. So, like that quest can be a right bitch. I think the thing of it is, though, is that if you like MMOs, you'll come into this, and I think for a period of time, you'll enjoy running around and, you know, picking up stuff and killing some mobs and whatever it may be. What have we got? Nope, can't do that. So I need to make some threads. Yeah, when I'm running around in it, Monsters and Memories, I do look at some of the NPCs they've got, and it's got like X trainer and Y trainer, and I think, oh, that could be interesting. I do hope that they allow a character to do a lot of the stuff if you need to, though. The other thing I don't like is all these restrictions that keep being put in place in these indie MMOs. So, like I can't. It's not like Ultra Online or even UO really, where say I want to make stuff. Say I want to be a blacksmith. Like I can't just be a blacksmith, so I have to go and level my character to level my profession skills to the next tier, so I can then get some skill in them. It's like, again, it seems like a restriction because I don't know what they're scared of. It's like so classic MMOs didn't do this. So from a if you're sitting around a table with a load of developers and you restrict profession skills to your character level, why would you do that? Like, what are you looking at? What are you aiming for? What is it that you're concerned about? You're concerned about what some bloke sitting in town. Maybe he's in a guild. He's a guild blacksmith sitting in town. People go out and buy resources. This is what we used to do in Ultra Online. Like, we had some people who were gatherers, and they went out and gathered stuff, and they brought it back to town. And then we would have people who were just crafters. That's all they did. We would supply them with the stuff, and then they would make the stuff. So what's the concern here? Is it a power concern? Like, are they concerned that someone might level all their gathering and crafting skills, still be level 1, adventuring, and then make themselves loads of stuff to wear that makes them overpowered? Well, for start off, who cares? Who gives a shit? Unless you're removing twinking, which was a big part of EverQuest, who cares? And the other thing as well is that the guys that earned the right to do that, he sat around in town for weeks, leveling up, maxing all his crafting skills. Why shouldn't he then make himself some great stuff at level 1 and go out and murder stuff? I mean, in EverQuest, you can wear a fungi tunic at level 1. It's like, it feels like they're taking the fun away. Like, they're coming up with all of these systems that are too restrictive. It doesn't feel like a sandbox. It doesn't really feel like an MMO. I don't understand. I don't understand why I can't just go out and skinning. Skinning's not a good example because you have to kill mobs. So I don't understand why I can't just go out and mine stuff and level my mining up to as much as I want. Who cares? Like, what? How is it affecting? It's not affecting my game or my enjoyment, and how is it really affecting anyone else's enjoyment? It's not. I just don't understand these systems. But as I said before, like, maybe these games should not be made for me. I don't know. It's like yeah, like Embers Adrift is a perfect example. Like, limiting you to how many professions you can learn at once. Like, where have all these decisions come from? I don't understand it. I also think that you're losing some of your market. Like we had guys in Ultra Online who that was. Oh, I'm trying to craft stuff. I've got no slots in a thing. We had guys in Ultra Online who didn't leave town because they didn't want to. That's what they enjoyed doing, and the game allowed them to do that. Just sit there and crafting all day. That's all they did. Right then, here we go. Here we go. Got some taters precious. I think I've done that quest though. Some mushrooms. Far too many apples. Maybe I should do some. Oh, I've got 2 lots of mushrooms there that haven't stacked. Yeah, I kind of think that. Oh, thank you, mate. Thanks very much. Yeah, I still think. What was I going to say? Yeah, of course. Yeah, if some bloke wants to sit around all day in town and make stuff, and then he bowls out of town at level 1, you know, with mithril plate and whatever. Who cares? Honestly. Thanks, mate. People, they all do seem scared of what the player's going to do. Like, I remember playing a game recently that's still like closed beta or whatever, and no, closed, this early access kind of thing, you know. And it's they were kind of they were changing skills from how they worked in EverQuest. It's basically the same skill in EverQuest, but they implemented them like that. And then they changed them to be different, to be less powerful, to be a lot more restrictive. And it's kind of like, it didn't even feel as though the changes were being made to try and differentiate themselves from EverQuest. It was just, oh, we don't want the players to do that or that. That's another thing I don't get with games. Do you know what? Go and watch any of my other streams recently playing an MMO, and I'm saying exactly the same stuff. I do apologise. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. But I guess when you keep banging your head again with the same problems, it's like, well, what can you do? I don't know. But it didn't invalidate it in EverQuest, which is a classic MMO that these players are supposed to, that the developers are supposed to be not replicating, but like in the spirit of, it's not like I don't know what happened after Velius or whatever. Not Velius, I'd even go as far as to say like Luklin, for example. But in Velius, you can still give a level 1 character a level 1 item that makes them ridiculously powerful. Yeah, but that's what happens in EverQuest. So what they're trying to do is not recreate EverQuest remotely. Then is what we're saying. Velius came out and it didn't stop. Obviously, they were aware that it's happening, but Velius came out and it didn't stop people giving their level 1 newbies a Cunarch item that made them godlike from level 1 to a certain point. So they're aware of it, and it must have been a consideration, but they didn't remove it. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe the Pantheon developers have said, "Oh, actually, we really don't like twinking, and we didn't like it in EverQuest, so we're going to stop that." It doesn't. Yeah, I don't buy that argument. It doesn't really make any sense. If your content is good enough, like the actual gameplay content, like it is in classic EverQuest, then the content can never be not trivial. I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for. If it's good enough, people will always want to go through it with multiple characters, and that includes them twinking characters as well. That argument I honestly don't understand. Yeah, that's it. That's yeah. What I was just saying, like I don't think that gathering and crafting should be behind like a class level wall. Like classic MMOs didn't do it, and it didn't have a negative impact on them. Yeah, I mean that's fine. If they don't want level 1 characters to be given. To be twinked, that's fine, but I can't take it seriously as a classic MMO then, because you're fundamentally not only are you adding systems to a game that weren't classic, which is fine. People want different things to do. That's fine. You're also removing stuff from a game that were fundamental classic systems. Yeah. So essentially what you're doing is you're kind of creating a new genre of MMO essentially, but you're telling people that it's a a classic game, you know. I mean, Embers Adrift a bit less so. I would say Embers Adrift is a bit closer. Is a bit closer to EverQuest than this game is even at the moment. Weirdly, considering it's got EverQuest developers, but this doesn't feel anything like EverQuest at all. P99 or Classic, and that's fine. Maybe that's just not what they're going for. I haven't heard that, but maybe when Brad went, they kind of changed the direction of the you know, the development. I'm not sure, but yeah, these games to me personally don't feel. They don't identify with me as classic MMOs. There's something different, and that's fine. You know, it is what it is. We can just go and play other stuff. It's not the end of the day. Yeah, I think you're probably right there, mate. The little that I played of Vanguard on the emulated server is probably a bit more like that. Even if you're not going for EverQuest, I do feel though that the way system. I still feel, even considering that, I still think that there are systems that are implemented that are not implemented in a fun way to play. And part of the fun of the classic MMOs has kind of been removed to a certain extent. Who's got the wolf? Is that the shaman? I have to start a shaman, won't I? At some point. Oh, I can't. Oh, God's sake. Can't create the poxy bag. Oh, I can't create the bag because I'm not... What? Craft station is... Right. Hang on a minute, I'm looking at the right thing, aren't I? Where's the quest? A useful item. Oh, okay. Okay, well that wasn't in before. Like before, I could come to this quest at this level and it just wanted me to make a rucksack. Now it wants me to level up the skill to create a rucksack. And to do that, I've got to go out and level my character probably at least 2 more levels. Whew. So I guess it may be fair to say that it's not worth doing the other newbie quests, gathering, crafting quests either at the moment, because I might need 18 in all of the skills, and I can't get 18 at the moment unless I level my character. So okay. I don't mind the fact that you need level 18 to make... You need a certain skill to make a particular item. It's just that I can't just level the skill to that point without going out and, you know. And the thing is as well, is that we go back to what we said, what Max said before about the game being generic, is that because it's so generic, there isn't really anything that's going, oh, well, actually, okay, I'm annoyed at that, but I'll carry on playing because the game does this, 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 and it's really interesting. It's just a basic, generic MMO gameplay loop experience. What level am I for? Oh, there's a skeleton, look. Okay, I think I'll go to I think I'll cross over the bridge and go to the area where there's the deer, just hunt deer and get skins and stuff. I know there'll be maybe the majority of players who will look at this stuff and just play it, really. As I said, maybe it's just me. Maybe my tolerance level is just not, you know, it's like I just can't be, I can't suffer fools gladly anymore as I used to, maybe. I'd rather be playing a game where I was playing the game, you know, instead of continually running around searching for something. And it's not even as though the world is immersive, like, I don't know, New World or EverQuest or you know, Fallout game or something. It's just I did want to try a warrior. Well, that might not sound like I want to try anything else, but there's you know, I don't seem to have vamped up the warrior at all since last time I played. He's only got like half a dozen skills or something. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, it's like we said before, Liz. It's like these games are weirdly similar, you know, to a point where it just feels like they're just taking each other's ideas. But maybe that's the formula, I guess. You know, maybe that's just the formula that people want. Maybe they've done some polls or something, or some market research, and I mean, you look at the amount of people playing them, it seems to be the case, but player population doesn't seem to be an important thing to the developers. You know, they'd rather stick on the path that they're on, and I do have track though, which again is very similar to EverQuest. One of those things I've actually taken verbatim from EverQuest. It's a massive window though. Yeah, there's an area, there's a little area patch that I spent a lot of time at with my paladin when I was playing it before, where there's just loads of mottled deer essentially. These slog beetles are funny. They are a slog. I remember I fought one once and it was blue. It's one of the few things that actually raised, you know, there's a bit of a chuckle. And yeah, and they're really hard to kill. That's quite funny. What does this do? Foul forage. I mean, when you look at some of the things in the game, you know, you could be forgiven for thinking that you're going to be getting more of an EverQuest experience than you are. I don't think it's just. I think it's just me, or maybe it is. I don't know. Oh, these moon hoppers I used to hunt. They're quite good. Sorry, I'm catching up with chat. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about you. With it feels like a waste of time, but yeah, it kind of does. But not because I don't know. I think part of it is I've become less tolerant of investing my time in a game, just for the sake of investing time in it. And I think it really was Embers Adrift that did that. That really kind of hammered it home, as it were. Because I spent so much. There were so many systems in that game where the game is asking you to. That the game is asking you to fix. That you spend more time fixing those systems than you do actually playing the game. Oh, that's all right, mate. No worries. No, I mean, I occasionally, like, I go onto the Pantheon Discord, and I always think to myself, shall I load it up and give it another go? I mean, I'm sure I'll play it for a bit, just give it a fair shot, and then, yeah, maybe we should do a video about it or something, or. I also think that the worst enemy of games in general, and particularly MMOs, is the player base, or should I say the core player base, who just there's someone here, someone on my patch. This is where I used to kick around killing. But I think there's a little bit over here as well where those moon hoppers were. Yeah, like the player base as well, like the yes men and women. Maybe the negative feedback is is not put across particularly well. So in the end, the developers just listen to the yes men and don't really take much notice of what anyone else says. I think that's very unhealthy. I think like repeating your sermon to your captured audience is just not. I don't think it just will make for a successful game long term. Oh no, no worries, mate. Honestly, I'm kind of trying to get a grasp. I'm just trying to kind of get a grip of the processes of having to gather and craft and make stuff and whatnot. You know, so I've got some sort of idea for like, if I can be asked to make a video or something. Oh, I should keep the rabbits, shouldn't I? Video and stuff. Just trying to find out how it all works. So I've got some idea, so I know what I'm talking about, kind of thing. Oh, I'll have a look at that, mate. RuneScape is a game that I've still got installed on the system, and I look at it and I think, oh, that looks amazing. That looks really old school, running around, grinding skills and blah de blah de blah. Just doing stuff. But then I don't know if there was some controversies recently with it. I'm not sure what they were particularly, but I just heard there was some stuff. Oh, we've got to stand up to track. That's fair enough. What's Brighter Shores? What is it? Is it like a top-down isometric kind of thing? Development has become very reactionary, and I guess it's because of the internet and patching and updates and whatnot. But like even single player games, like I really had a lot of fun playing Helldivers 2. But the developers just kept nerfing stuff, you know, and it seemed to as though they were doing it based around a very, very, very tiny percentage of players who were very good at the game. Strangely, and I didn't expect it, but Space Marine 2 did it as well. Although I believe they did roll back the changes that they made, I think. Yeah, it's weird how people are obsessed, like developers are obsessed with having a curated experience that is exactly how they want it to be. And not giving players the tools to go out and experience and have a good time, which is what, you know, games like EverQuest done, Ultra Online did. Developers seem far too worried about what the players are going to accomplish, and they're trying to limit that. And I just think it doesn't make for a particularly fun experience. Hi, Jacob. Yeah. I mean, I've been playing a lot of single player-y games. And I haven't played any of the recent, like, you know, testing weekends or whatever that have been on over the second part of this year for games, really. The MMOs are just like, you know, I actually had an amazing experience at the weekend. I didn't play any games, but it was gaming related. Where I've been watching the League of Legends finals with my sons. My youngest one's really into the game, and it was a great experience, like watching it and experiencing it, because it was just about the games, basically. I mean, I used to like, I guess the games are kind of based on Warcraft, but with a PvP aspect. And I used to love RTS games back in the day, and they're interesting. It's interesting from a gameplay point of view to watch and learn a new game, like, you know, tactically how it all works and whatnot. But the thing that stuck out the most is just how quite joyous it was, and everyone just seemed to love it. It was just one game, you know. All the players are like pop stars. I know it's probably a bit of a meme because everyone does, but like, I love Faker. Like, he was definitely my favourite player. Actually, no, I really like what's his name, man, I can't remember. He's a T1 player. He used to have white hair, but then he's gone back to having black hair. I just like his entrance. His entrance was like, yeah, I'm here. Everything's all right now. It was cool. But it was just joyous to see, because there's so much shit in gaming at the moment. It was joyous to see. It was amazing to see people just enjoying gaming, enjoying the game. You know, I didn't watch every single moment, so maybe there was some of it, but none of the commentators were going, oh no, there's no women in any of these teams, or oh, the Korean team's not very diverse. There was none of that bullshit. It was just about the game, and it was about the players and the spectacle. Linkin Park did like the theme tune this year. I love that. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a gameplay genre that I've never played, and I didn't really know anything about it until I started watching it with my boys. But it was joyous. It was like gaming how it used to be, where you played the game for the joy of it, and it wasn't infested with ideology and whatever. It was it was cool, and I actually kind of got me wanting to give it a go. I've been watching a couple of like newbie guides to League of Legends. My youngest son said it's an absolute nightmare. I'll help you out, you know, because it does seem difficult to get into. I imagine. I'm not sure if there's like a newbie bit where you get paired against other newbies, but the game's so old now, probably not. I don't know. Oh shit! This isn't an even con. This one. Yeah, but it was interesting getting a quite old school feeling, fun gaming experience from a genre that I've never played. That was a tough one. I think also it kind of gets to a point where I'm not sure of anyone else, but I'm not really I don't look forward to games anymore, except for the very odd few. So that reminds me, the Stalker 2 devs have released some more physical copies, so I have to see if I can go and pre-order see if I can pre-order that. But yeah, like very few games I'm looking forward to. It's a shame, really, because I don't think people who are what tourists they call them, or people who are just not really big gamers or whatever, kind of understand. It's like when you look at the Dragon Age thing recently, it is absolute shit. That, I mean, I think Dragon Age is kind of like the peak woke thing. I think it is a game that has actually been created just to push, just as propaganda. I think whereas other games have got propaganda in them, this one seems to have been specifically designed around propaganda. And why would anyone take a big franchise like Dragon Age and say, yeah, you can do that with Dragon Age? And it's not just because of the ideology it is. Like if I was Mr. Dragon Age and some fundamentalist Christians came in and I looked at their game design, I'd go, I'm sorry, mate, no. On your bike. You know, if some loony Tolkien fans come in like I was and I looked at their thing, I'd say, I'm sorry, no, it's not Dragon Age. I want a Dragon Age game. But I don't understand at the top who makes that decision. Here's our design docket for Dragon Age, the new Dragon Age that people have been waiting for 10 years. Oh, that's great. Yeah, off you go. Like, who makes these decisions? It's bizarre. It really is odd that this has become such a thing in gaming. And the thing is that it's like for people who've been waiting for a new Dragon Age, like big fans, that's kind of it. It was a bit like me with Rings of Power. You know, like 10, 20 years ago, if someone said we're making a TV series, kind of, you know, maybe based on the Silmarillion, if we could get that property, yeah, you know, I'd have given them a left kidney to fund that. And it comes out, and it's shit, and it's like the only chance you're getting. It's like, well, that's it. Like it's probably not going to get done again unless someone buys the rights to the Silmarillion. You know, we're probably not going to get it again. So that's it. You know, that like waited 40 years for this, and it comes out, and it's terrible. And that's it. It's like a one-shot thing, and like we might not get. We might not get another Dragon Age game again. You know, this might be it. So the last Dragon Age game we got was basically propaganda for people who don't actually really give a shit about gaming. I'm glad to see these things failing. I would like to see them fail hard, and all these people who've come into the industry to push something end up just out of it. They lose their job. I never would have said that before. It's a horrible thing to say, but I hope they all lose their jobs and they fuck off, and gaming becomes joyous again. Oh, I dropped that one. What was that one? Oh, okay, that's a slightly higher tier skin by the looks of it then. I think the stag will probably whoop me. I don't know. I did just kick off a new playthrough of Dragon Age Origins, actually, so I might stream a little bit of that. Oh yeah, there must be developers and people out there who still love games, and I think when you look at the indie scene, I think it's different. I don't think the indie scene is the saviour that some people do, but I definitely think that it's better there, and it seems to be more about the games than anything else. I just think it's mostly the AAA side of things. Um, you don't want that. Let's see what this patch of wild vegetables have got. Yeah, I think the indie scene gets more credit than it should, just because the AAA area is so crap. But there are some absolute gems within the indie scene. I mean, it's ridiculous to me what that guy managed to do with Valheim. Just like phenomenal stuff. Oh, hello. What is that? Oh, it's a trap. Oh yeah, there's some NPC around here somewhere. Some dude. I'm not sure if you get trapped, he comes running over. I think it's only the financial that will change it. I think probably a little while ago I didn't think things would change because the old ESG thing is funded by some pretty shitty Bond villain trillionaire types. Ironically, really, that these people are accepting that type of money. But I think it feels as though even they're kind of getting a bit sick of it now. You can only give away so many millions for so long. They're talking. I mean, what they're looking at, like Dragon Age Valguard. I think they're talking about it probably costing a couple 100 million or something. And looking at rough sales at the moment, what they're going to get back 50 of that. It can't, even no matter what sort of trillionaire is backing you can't keep doing that. Disney has lost a huge amount of money from their film and TV series over the last few years. Yeah, indie games are best when it's a simple idea and you focus on that idea. Like one of my favourite indie games was FTL, and it was just you in a ship, guys are gonna kill steal me, aren't they? You in a ship, just warping from zone to zone, making your way across the galaxy, and various random things happened along the way. It was simple, effective, uncomplicated. Another one of my favourites was Atom Zombie Smasher. It's brilliant. It's a bit like I guess it would be a bit like what's the game genre where you put up, kind of a bit like tower defense. So you would put up some defenses and stuff, and then zombies would invade the map, and depending on how well you set up the defenses, and that was really cool. Those kind of simple ideas are always the best ones. Yeah, well, they said the same about they said the same about, I think it was was it Netflix or Amazon? I think it was Netflix actually, because I'm not sure how much Amazon information is available. But like I think they said on Netflix that old shows are far out what are watched far more than newer shows. Yeah, but it was so like Moorish, wasn't it? Like you could, I mean, I just used to play. I used to finish a game and start again because it was so. There were so many different ways of setting up, and there was also. Oh, huh? Oh, so I've got weight as well. Okay. Yeah, like I could just carry on playing it over and over again because it was, you never quite knew what was going to happen. It had just enough just enough RNG to make it interesting. A bit like EverQuest really, where it gave you the tools to lower the RNG effect, but there was could still be a bit, you know, it could still happen. Yeah, I mean, GOG's pretty good for that. Steam's got better as well. Um, I think I've got Dragon Age Origins on. I think was it. I think it's Steam. I've got it on. I just started playing it and it runs perfectly fine, even in 4K. The menu, the UI is very small. You can't increase it. I'm sure there'll be a mod for that though. It was so interesting. Like I watched a couple of people streaming. I can only really bear the first hour of Valgard. Um, just the writing and the dialogue, and also the acting was just like being in. It's like being in a coffee shop in London with loads of teenage hipsters just yabbering. They all sound like children. The characters, and the way that they spoke was just Jesus. And then I went and played Dragon Age Origins, and you know, like just the dialogue and the danger, you know, the edginess to it, everything. It was some of it was a bit like, you know, thee and thou and whatnot, but then that's kind of, I'd rather that than yeah, all right, mate, how you doing? All right. Yeah, GOG's good for old games though. I keep meaning to go back and play the old gold box SSI role playing games, particularly the Dragonlance ones. I've run them before and they've run pretty well. I also I don't know if you saw, but I downloaded that PC thing. I can't remember what it's called. Let me have a look. I don't know. I downloaded a PC emulator thing essentially that you download it and you download all the games and it just runs essentially. I think on the stream I played. I think on a stream I played. Some of the Lucasfilm adventure games, Indiana Jones maybe. I want to go back and play those. I also wanted to play. It's got the old X-wing and TIE Fighter games on there. I want to go back and play those. Well, whenever you get anything like this, it will become sensationalized and people. You get quite a lot, but like recently with the Veilguard thing, Dragon Age Veilguard, some people have been talking to so-called, you know, like leaks, you know, people calling them, and I work for BioWare and it's an absolute shit show, and you know, I think to a certain extent you should take that with a grain of salt, but yes, you know, when when it appears as though your main recruitment process revolves around you having to hire a certain type of person as opposed to the best people, then I guess you end up with a, you know, and I think even being as generous as you can, even if you say to yourself, oh, all of these leaks, it's all just rubbish, I think it's pretty clear as to who's being hired and why the quality is going down. I think that's, you know. You were saying earlier, I think that, what am I coming over here for? I don't even know. I think that Dragon Age Valguard has reached peak, like peak, peak propaganda in that regard. I didn't think it could get any worse, but I think I think it has peaked now. When you look at, when I'm watching a couple of hours of streaming of it, it's I think we've probably gone and taken it as far as you can. Maybe it will be the tipping point. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, it does sound like terrible teen fan fiction. But terrible teen fan fiction based around, you know, the ideology of gender, which is just not really what anyone generally wants, I don't think, in a, outside of, like, you know, being able to sex up your group or whatever. I don't, it's not relevant in a Dragon Age game. I don't think it helped particularly, but they definitely tried to learn their lesson from games that were released this year before it, and they only gave review copies to people that were going to give it 10 out of 10. It doesn't seem to have helped it particularly. I think it had, you know, I don't even think it got anywhere near 100,000 players, consecutive players on Steam, I don't think. I think it did all right, but it's lost like tens of, if not hundreds, million. But it's a Dragon Age game, you know. Like, people who wait 10 years, they're going to give, you know, some people are going to give it a go, but nowhere near. I mean, I thought initially it would do a lot better, just because it was a Dragon Age game, and but it didn't. It didn't really get anywhere near what you would call a success. And I don't think it's the sort of game that people are going to wait to buy particularly either. You know, I don't think it's got any long-term legs. You know, I should be leveling to get to level 6, I think it is, so I can get 18 thingy. But I'm honestly struggling to even care. Oh, holy smokes. There's a chunky fox. It's going to leap at me and knock me over. Did I just say Mass Effect when I said Dragon Age? Of course, they're working on the new Mass Effect as well, and I think I'm not sure if BioWare were trying to make everyone feel comforted when they said, yeah, the whole team's now moved to work on Mass Effect. No, it doesn't make me comforted. We want a new team, please. The deers have got this thing called cowardly, so it flees when you attack its allies, but it just randomly runs around the fight. It doesn't actually flee particularly. So this will be your experience. If you want to play the early access of Pantheon, because you will need to level to 6 before you can make yourself some bags, and you will constantly find yourself running around emptying your bag to fit stuff in, what have you, and yeah, that will be your. I'm giving it to you real. Oh, I think I should have not. Hey mate, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of playing a ranger at the moment. Don't have a problem with a ranger, but I do have a problem with the game. I can't imagine I'm going to play early access particularly. I don't know. I'll probably try a few classes if I stick with a class I really enjoy it enough to get me over the stuff that I don't like, then I might do. But yeah, I just carry on waiting for that classic experience. Yeah, VTM's one of my. Well, actually, I like the first game as well, but the second, yeah, it's one of the best RPGs I've ever played. As soon as I saw it and I saw the people writing for it, it was like, nope, another ruined franchise. Is this the proper sequel? That hasn't it gone through some changes or something, or? I should do a playthrough of that. I should stream old games that I play and just like stream playthroughs of them. That'd probably be a lot more interesting. Inquisition was kind of all right, although I think you could kind of see the rot setting in, but it is at least playable, I think. I quite liked exploring the world. I think that was good. I enjoyed some of the. I played a mage and I enjoyed. I just started off Origins again, and I'm going to rush to Blood Magic because I want to play a Blood Mage. Let's go through Blood Maging everything. It's always fun. Oh man, I'm so stressed about Stalker. Please, please, please. It's my favourite game series. Just give us what we want. Please don't screw it up. Please. Literally, this afternoon I'm about to go and spend €400 on the Ultimate Physical Edition. At least give me a good game to play, please. Otherwise, I can't bear it. It's the only game I'm waiting for. I hope it's a massive open world, big zone that we go around in. I've got my books ready. I've just recently gone through the Metro games. I'm going to read a bit of Red Short. Roadside Picnic. I'm getting myself in the zone for Stalker 2. I'm gonna have to watch Stalker as well before it comes out. Yeah, I'm getting myself in the zone literally for that. I can't wait for that game. Please be good. I mean, to be honest, I'd be happy with like the first game again, but just better visuals and a bigger an open zone. That'll do me. All the weapons can be the same, all the mobs can be the same. I want to get immersed in a radioactive future, somewhere in Ukraine or whatever it is. I'm hoping it's a game that you can just carry on playing and just exploring and stuff, and there's no like Fallout 76 but better essentially. I know it doesn't have any like online features particularly, I don't think, but yeah. Hey mate, how you doing? Okay, now. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I got Gamma with modern graphics, then I'm all in. Modern graphics and no zoning, then I'm all in. It's like just follow that blueprint essentially. I'm still waiting for my. I did kickstart the Stalker board game, and it finished a while ago, and people have started receiving their boxes. But I haven't got mine yet. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the original games outside of the mods and stuff, I think were fairly story driven. I think you can do both. Like you. I do hope it's more. Do hope it's a open world sandbox and stuff where you can faff around and experiment and whatnot. Yeah, with a story running through it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was. You could just run around the world doing shit. It was really interesting, and obviously the mods made it even more so. What I hope those games don't lose is the quirkiness of, it was a shame what happened with Japanese gaming, because I used to have a PC, but I used to have a console as well, because you just got a different type of game from Japanese developers. And I think more and more, unfortunately, they've become quite westernized. And I think it's the same with games from other places in Europe. The Eurojank games. I used to love them just because they just offered something different. So I hope it's kept that quirkiness, I guess. But I'm not sure. That may be asking too much. I've tried not to spoil myself. I mean, I've watched some gameplay, and it does seem like Stalker, but whether that's what they're showing you, I'm not sure. I don't think it's got like a parkour and stuff, particularly as I don't think climbing and what have you. I'm not sure. It needs to be a FPS. Yeah, that's true. Look at the shambles that CD Projekt Red has become in the last couple of years. Because some Bond villain said, if you do this, we'll invest loads of money, so you don't have to worry about it. I haven't seen that, mate. I must confess. I did see a thing where I did see one of the previews where the main character seemed to be talking in an American accent. I don't know what the hell that was all about. I mean, I like to play those games. I guess it would be in Russian with subtitles or whatever, Ukrainian. So that was a bit off-putting. Well, they're saying that. I mean, the law that it takes place, the law that it's based on is, I think, American. I'm not sure if it actually says in Roadside Picnic where it's actually based, but I think it's supposed to be America. Certainly Red Stewart certainly sounds like an American name. It was only later when That you got the Stalker film and that kind of thing, that it became like a yeah. So even though Roadside Picnic was written by a Russian author, I think it was set in America. But yeah, some sort of strong current day American accent is not going to go over particularly well. Is it Canada they're in? Okie doke. I thought, yeah, I knew it was North America somewhere, but yeah, because they changed a fair bit actually. To be honest, because the original Roadside Picnic is about an alien ship landing and leaving the zone behind, whereas it became more about, I guess naturally it became more about yeah, I guess Chernobyl, nuclear. I love playing the Metro games. I played those through recently in the native tongue with subtitles. So much better, so much more immersive. I don't even know who's. It's got to a point where I don't really even. I used to follow my favourite developers, see what they were doing next, but I don't even do that anymore. I don't even know who's involved in Stalker 2, whether it's the original devs or not. I think when it's interesting. I think when we talk about like BioWare and whatever. I mean, you know, the original guys are not there anymore. You know, it's not. The people developing these games are not the people who developed the original game. So I guess, you know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What was it? Metro 2033 Redux. Yeah. I mean, I loved the last game as well. Slightly went away from the formula, but I still really liked it. I love the first zone, the snowy zone. It's just hanging around there for ages. Well, whew. It's interesting also, I noticed recently, and I've seen it surrounding Fallout and Cyberpunk and some other worlds and lore and stuff, how people on a certain ideological side have interpreted it a certain way when they're completely incorrect, where everything is about capitalism and anti-capitalism as far as they're concerned, but when really it's not. And it was funny to see Tim, what's his name, one of the original creators of Fallout recently, go, yeah, no, it's not about that. And they all lost their shit. Yes, it is. Well, no, I created it. It's not. It's like, you know, it's people that just bend stuff to want it to be like how they want it to be. Yeah, it's funny. It really is funny. When you tell the original creator of something that, no, you're wrong. It's how we want it to be. It's fucking hilarious. Tim Kaine, yeah. Yeah. No, it's not. It is. No, but I created it. It's not. It is! It's funny. So in Cyberpunk as well, like I've read, I used to roleplay Cyberpunk, and I've, you know, read a lot of stuff and listened to a lot of stuff of the original creator and stuff, and read a lot of the early books that are now considered cyberpunk, and it's funny how purposely misunderstood it is, because they want to fit it into, because they've played Cyberpunk 2077 and they want it to be about something. It becomes about something in their head, even though they've completely misinterpreted it. It's quite funny. I used to love Cyberpunk. Like, coming from a really poor working class background, I love that. I loved that high tech, low life kind of thing that Cyberpunk had, where you had these just poor working class people living in poverty, but they still had access to kind of augmentation and whatever. But it was, but some of it was more dangerous than actually not, And yeah, I love that idea of living in that poor, almost post-apocalyptic environment, but but also having access to high technology and being exploited, and yeah, kind of said quite a lot to me in my younger poor days. I got over the, yeah, visually I kind of got used to it. Yeah, from a budget point of view, it's never going to be New World. It does kind of bring to mind games like Fortnite and stuff, but it is what it is. I mean, they said they did the change because it just makes it easier for them to develop stuff quickly, because they kind of started again. Oh, I'm overweight again. Holy shit. Yeah, but it's... I think, I'm repeating myself from earlier, but I just don't think indie MMOs are aimed at me, basically. It's like... It's not EverQuest, and it doesn't need to be, but it's also not a modern MMO. It's almost like it's creating its own genre of MMO that I'm just really not interested in playing that much, I think, is the issue. I don't... the problem is that there are games that are doing everything that these current indie MMOs are doing, but better. Outside of Monsters of Memories, although I've got my reservations about that game, there's still a lot of systems in that game that are not implemented yet, so that's kind of like a wait and see. But this is just very generic of what I've become used to playing indie MMOs, with a classic slant. The classic slant is just not big enough, basically, I think, is the thing I'm trying to say. And it's implementing new systems that they don't make me feel as though they're confident in the content of their game, that it's interesting enough. So and it's, I'm just repeating myself from earlier, but as an example, like gatekeeping, crafting skills behind your character's adventuring level, there being a very, very limited amount of nodes to gather from. I feel like I've been quite lucky this morning, but actually there's no one else playing hardly. So, what's the experience going to be for new? I'm always thinking about the experience for people coming into it whenever I'm playing an MMO. Now, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm not sure. But what's the experience going to be of a new player coming in and they get a quest that says go and collect 10 fibers or whatever, and they go out and they can't find any because there's people running around everywhere finding them. So you're running around and around and around, trying to find them, and you just get frustrated. And I know people talk about economies and all that kind of stuff, but I think that's nonsense personally. What you need to do is you either need to instance the nodes, so everyone's got access to what they need if they want to gather and do crafting, or you just need to make more of them. You know, it's not going to be. But yeah, there's lots of things like that I'm not really into. You know, but I admit, you know, maybe it's me. I don't know. I started playing these games because, you know, we're a classic MMO channel essentially, and that's what these games were. That's what these games were telling me that they were, but I'm not finding it. Hey mate, thanks for tuning in. Cheers. It's still very slow though. Like before I started streaming, I hung around an area for about an hour, and I picked up some jute nodes, and they just didn't. Well, they didn't seem to spawn in that time. Maybe it was about half an hour, 45 minutes. It's just not a good system. You know, it's not a good system. I understand maybe you're trying to create a market, and whoever gets it first, it's competitive and blah 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 blah. But for me, it's just frustrating. I've got no room, have I? I've really just got no interest in it. You know, I guess. But as I said, maybe it's because the game's just not aimed at me anymore. I don't know. Someone's chucking some bags at me. Hang on, let me. Thank you in the end. I know I was kind of resisting the bags, but I'm not sure if I can. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for that. I was resisting bags. I kind of wanted to just kind of make them, but cheers. So I'm overweight. Let's go and chuck some stuff in the bank. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, it kind of. I'm not. I guess the technology behind it is maybe thingy. I mean, New World has NPCs and items that you pick up and stuff that are instants for each player. Their nodes are not, but then in New World you can walk out the gates of a city and just chop any tree you want. You know, there are enough nodes around for people to do what they want to do. You know, that's so frustrating. So you can't. This thing with the bank thing where you can't, it doesn't stack in the bank, so you can't. I can't just right click on stuff. I actually have to drag it to the bank. Hopefully that's something that is changed, because that's pretty crazy. But there are some people who are just willing to, as we said before, there are some people who are players who are willing to put up with this stuff, and they'll play the game anyway because they're enjoying it, and you know. Yeah, it needs to be. Like, it's going to be a horrible experience, early access, if there's a load of people running around and everyone, all you just see is people running around trying to fighting over nodes. That's rubbish. I could kind of understand it in New World when it was a PvP game. If this was a PvP game and gangs went around fighting over nodes, I can understand it, you know, but it's not. It's just not. It's... Yeah, I remember when I played before. I made crates to stick in the bank for storing stuff. Although I think they had these crates that were designed for you to store stuff in the bank, but I didn't actually find them any more useful than bags. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe there was just maybe I was doing something wrong. For anyone who watches this later, though, you know, as I said, maybe I'm a miserable old bastard, and this is what MMOs are now, you know, and that's fine. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just us, you know, those of us who are. Yeah, I remember making loads of crates, thinking, and you're right, they turned out to be shit. Yeah. Well, I think we definitely want to use one of these for. That seems to be the heaviest stuff. Yep. Yeah, look, as I said, maybe I'm just being a miserable old bastard. Maybe you're watching it, you'll get something out of it. That's great. I think that, you know. What I find, what's weird about quality of life features and like classic MMO design with these indie MMOs that are available is what's weird about it is that there are some quality of life features, so you kind of think, okay, so maybe it's EverQuest quality of life, that's fine, but then there are all these other systems that are not quality of life. So it's a weird mix. I don't understand what they're going for. I don't know what they're trying to do here with this game. The combat's a bit like World of Warcraft. The gathering is a bit like a survival game. You know, the crafting is locked behind character level. There's all sorts of things going on that I don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it. I'm not sure. And I'm not trying to be too literal, like because they've said. Because it's by ex-EverQuest devs and they talk about EverQuest, I'm not expecting a literal translation or even like EverQuest that's been modernised to a point where it's kind of not really EverQuest. But what I am looking for is, what I am struggling with is some of the design decisions that they're making. That they're putting into the game. They don't really make a lot of sense. It's like combat is modernised, feels a bit like World of Warcraft. You've got countdowns and stuff, so that's going to appeal to a certain type of player. But the time it takes to do things in this game is not going to appeal to a World of Warcraft player. You know, it's even classic World of Warcraft players. I don't think this is going to appeal to because of all the, you know, many people played World of Warcraft because they didn't like the grind of classic MMOs. So, and as a classic MMO player, there's so much about the game that's not appealing to me. So I don't know. I guess I haven't really heard from anyone who's enjoying the game and kind of explained why they're enjoying it, particularly not in detail. A lot of people on the Discord just say, "Oh, you know, it's like EverQuest." And that's kind of all you get, really. I'm not quite sure. Like, I haven't sat down with someone and they've said, like, I really enjoy it because of this. Like, I enjoy the gameplay loop of running around, exploring, killing mobs and stuff. But the issue is that all of the indie MMOs are like this at the moment. So, what is this one giving someone? And I understand, of course, you also get people who just, you know, they will treat developers who made a game in the past that they really liked a bit like rock stars, and that's fine. You know, I do that as well. It's not a problem. Well, I think there's a balance that you can strike between, you know, quality of life stuff. So, like in Monsters of Memories, for example, I saw a cartographer trainer NPC. Now, I've got no idea what they're going to do, what that NPC is going to do. But at the same time, you know, like I can play the real life cartographer, so I get myself some map paper and just map out the zones myself. You know, it's kind of like so I'm not averse to there being a cartography skill. Where you get like an in-game, maybe you get like an in-game scrap of paper, and I wouldn't want a detailed map, but I don't mind there being like a rough map of where you've been. That's not a problem. Because of course, like actually, it's not. I'm trying to comparison to the real world, but you can't really do that. It's not really like in medieval times, people didn't walk around with a bit of paper mapping things out. But then that's because most people in the medieval world very, 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 very rarely left their village. You know, real life medieval was not picking up a sword and going adventuring across the. But I don't have a problem with there being a skill allowing you to draw a rudimentary map. I think that makes perfect sense. I didn't mind the idea in Embers Adrift, actually, really, where you could tell what way you were pointing by the blue moon or whatever it was. Is there a way of, I mean, the thing is like, as an adventurer, if we're trying to, come up with what an adventurer might be, like I'm sure someone like Bear Grylls or whatever has learned some certain skills which allows them for ease of travel around environments. So yeah, if they can incorporate that into the game in some interesting way, that'd be quite good. Maybe like a landmark thing. Maybe you visit landmarks and you recognise them, and then when you visit the landmark, the game tells you in what direction another landmark is that you've visited. So I guess you're not having to remember it yourself, but it's part of a skill that, I mean, there are ways of, I think there are ways of, I disagree with a lot of the quality of life stuff. I am looking for a game that's like EverQuest, but because I don't think that an MMO has beaten EverQuest. I think it's the best MMO there's ever been. Well, there's some things that were frustrating about it, yeah, but I would take it over any other MMO that's ever been released. I don't need it to be modernised, but I think there's way of... The thing is like having a cartography skill where you get a basic idea of where things are. It's not really modern. It's not modernised. It's just what people would have done. But we kind of get hung up on this. A map is a modern MMO thing. Well, it's not really. Like, people made maps, but at the same time, it shouldn't be. At the same time, it shouldn't be a perfect map of everything that you've seen. I've seen quite a few Necros running around, and Necro's like flavour of the month at the moment. Yeah, I think again, like praising Embers Adrift for the second time, but Embers Adrift kind of did like a rough map I quite like that. The only thing that I would change with the Embers Drift map is that I think you should be able to write stuff on it. I think that would be interesting. Project Gorgon was quite interesting in a sense that it let you you got a cartography skill that you increased as you travelled around, and the higher your cartography skill, I think you could write more things on the map. Essentially, I quite like that idea. There are so many different ways of incorporating stuff that's kind of quality of life, but it makes sense within the gaming aspect. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that I would do with the Embers Drift map is allow people to write on it. I don't think you can. I'm pretty sure you can't. I think what Project Gorgon does is what I used to do is I used to use the pins I could put on the map. I used to use them for marking out nodes. So if you draw a rough sketch and you work out where the nodes are and you mark them on the map, I'd be quite happy with that. I think level design has an impact. I think level design has got to a point where, so like after a while of playing like now I can log into EverQuest, and if I'm in a part of the zone, I can visualize the zone because it's a zone, and know pretty much in what direction I've got to go using the compass. You know, kind of know what way I've got to go to get to a certain point in the zone. There's some shithead NPC that killed me. I think it was this guy. Yeah. Let's see how you do now, pal. Yeah, quest markers I'm against. 100% in an MMO. Oh, hello. Oh. Yeah, it's like if I had a map where I could mark on the map where the NPC was, that'd be good. I mean, I wouldn't mind, like, to make it a bit more realistic. I wouldn't mind it if, a bit like the Resident Evil games. You know, when you open your inventory, you can't see what's going on. So you open your map, but you can't see what's going on around you. I don't mind that. I know that I'm supposed to get to level 6 to be able to craft bags and stuff, but I've kind of given up on that. I'm really just running around, just doing stuff. I'll have to stop streaming anyway soon. Yeah, a bit like EverQuest, where you originally when you meditated, you could only see your spell book, that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I finished the point because we got caught up in something else. Sorry, I'm just checking back on the chat. I don't know, but yeah, someone, one of you were asking me about this in New World and stuff, and I think that I think in its present state, it's probably not a game that I would invest a load of time in. But there are aspects that I like. Unfortunately, it's exactly the same as with Embers Adrift. You know, it's there are aspects that I like, running around at night, just exploring and picking up some stuff and whatnot. But yeah, but it's not enough. It's not quite enough for me to invest time in as it is. Yeah, again, I'm praising Embers Adrift again, but I think that's what Embers Adrift does. It doesn't show you where you are on the map, so you kind of have to roughly work it out yourself, which is quite a good idea. I did get a quest from the Mistress of Rangers, but I don't think I'm high enough level to do it. I did the first quest that she gave me, but what some dudes over here? Are they camping something or? Can you talk to a faction? Great Owls. Okay, can't talk to him at the moment. Fair enough. What we'll do before we finish the stream is we'll run across. Let's run across to a different zone and have a run around and just look at some different things. It's funny how I think to a certain extent, like we can mostly agree that there's a way of incorporating quality of life stuff that makes sense within the world that you're in. But at the same time, the games have kind of incorporated systems that are kind of grindy and move away from that kind of thing. I mean, I don't mind grinds particularly, but it needs to feel fair. I'm not even sure if that makes sense. Or it needs to feel open. It needs to feel like more sandboxy. So if I want to craft, I can grind the craft, but I don't have to level my character at the same time. If I want to go out and gather, I'm guaranteed to find stuff that I can use. That kind of thing. I think, as we said, the thing with all of these things like maps and stuff is that they can be incorporated in a way that makes sense. You know, it's as I said, like with Monsters and Memories, I've seen a lot of NPCs around who are X trainer and Y trainer. It sounds quite interesting. Like maybe they're going to find a way of incorporating these systems into the game that makes more sense. Yeah, I think I keep using the same point, and it's not the only point, but it's like, okay, so I want to be the best blacksmith. Okay, so to do that, you need to go out and kill rats. Well, why do I need to kill rats to become the best blacksmith? Well, because that's what we've told you to do, but it doesn't make any sense. Well, and then that's where I'm out then, you see. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know any blacksmiths that kill rats. It's, you know, maybe they do, but not in the sense that they have to kill rats to progress being a good blacksmith. It's just that's the kind of thing that it just completely kills it for me. It's not like, you know, stuff that doesn't make any sense. I suppose what's happened is with these games is that they have moved away from the EverQuest formula. Not, you know, I'm not talking about quality of life stuff and that, in the sense that EverQuest had some crafting and stuff and whatnot, and etc. etc. But essentially, all EverQuest was about, for the majority of it, vast majority of it, was killing mobs. That's all it was, and it did that amazingly well. You know, the combat is second to none. Like the emergentness of it. The tactical nature of it. No MMO has ever come remotely close to it. Everything seems really dumbed down in comparison to it, but that's kind of all EverQuest was. But what these games are doing is trying to give us a lot more than that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's working. particularly well. Yeah, a rat dropping a patch of gold, or you know, like a being kicked by an animal or something, or whatever, you know, is, I mean, that is quite gamey, but I don't find that as immersion breaking as like being restricted in what I can do in relation to something that is not related to that thing. So advancing my skill as a fighter is not related to advancing my skill as a blacksmith at all. So why are they linked in any shape or form? It really doesn't make any sense. I think I haven't really done it much. I haven't done it at all, really, playing apart from the fact that when it stuck me to a wall and I didn't want it to. But you got the climbing thing going on, which I guess is a fairly unique ability. But also you got this this thing occasionally where there's going to be a system, wasn't there, where you raised a skill that was almost like, it was a skill that I can't remember what they called it, but you basically notice things around the world. And depending on what skill it was, how high your skill was, it kind of... I can't remember what they called it. I can't see it here, maybe I'm just missing it. But yeah, there was a thing where they was going to incorporate this this skill where you... We're just having a little explore now before I quit. Perception, that's right, yeah. I'm not sure how much of a thing that is anymore. A couple of times I've been walking around and it's given me some information. I mean, it's not really a new thing, obviously, because the D&D MMO kind of does it quite a lot, actually. Yeah, I wonder if that's still going to be a key thing. And of course, like any MMO, there are things that pique your fancy. You know, like just beyond this tree here, up on the cliff top, there's a huge tower, and I think, oh, that looks interesting. I'd like to go there. Can you go first person? Oh, you can. It's funny, isn't it, how, I'm not sure if anyone else has this with games. I know that Jacob just mentioned immersion, which I find as well, but there are recently, particularly the indie MMOs, where I come across something in there and I think, oh wow, look at that, etc, etc, etc. But the wow moments are not enough to keep me playing in the same way that, you know, like EverQuest does, for example. It's like, because I don't think EverQuest is perfect, although it might sound like it sometimes, and it's got issues, but it's fundamentally a game that just keeps drawing me back and back and back. And you know, this game has got elements of that, but just not enough to want me to invest my time. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe because it's just unfinished at the moment. I'm assuming there's still a lot of development to go. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I end up turning on YouTube looking for something to to watch or listen to. The thing is, as well, is that it's not like the games. Again, it's just like my personal taste, but it's not like the game is fundamentally broken forever from my point of view. Like, if I can go out and I can run around and I feel like my time is being spent in a way that I'm not frustrated, so it's not like, oh, I'm looking around for an Asherite node, but there's 10 other people running around, I can't find one. You know, as long as it's that, like maybe if they unlinked, a crafting level to character level again, that would be a big thing. It would make me more likely to carry on playing the game. But I think that experience of games where, you know, of MMOs recently where people have mentioned these things but they're not changed, it almost feels as though the developers are happy to have a very, very small core audience that I don't quite know how it supports the game financially than to make some changes that might pull in a bigger crowd. They have incorporated the New World thing in there a little bit, where you get occasionally you'll get like a little gem or something, which is pretty cool. This looks like a pretty decent spot to come for a bit of mining. I mean, obviously I'm the only one here, but someone also asked about the Lord of the Rings MMO. I think they are, yeah, but holy smokes, I can't. As much as I love New World, I kind of had to stop playing it. Again, it was a Dragon Age of Algard thing. I was just coming across stuff that made me cross, and I just didn't want to support it, so I just kind of stopped playing. It's just... you know, if I load up Amazon's Lord of the Rings and I'm running around the Shire and you know, it's what these people class as diverse or whatever, or I'm just not playing it. I'm just not doing it. If you're going to do Lord of the Rings, I want it to be representative of what Lord of the Rings is, and not some modern representation. But yeah, I think they're still doing it. Yeah, I did as well, actually. Like, I kind of got into the survival games early on, but it didn't really... Again, I'm not quite sure what it was, but running around a big sandbox, gathering and crafting and surviving and stuff. Yeah, I was hoping, like you, that maybe it would be a replacement or expand upon it, but it kind of didn't really. The last one I played was, I think that's what you're talking about here, Liz. There's some nodes here that you can't get to. I can't remember what's the game that came out recently. Looked really, really nice, and it's like a part PvP, part gathering crafting game. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna love this, and I just didn't. Again, I think it was because everything was just too grindy. You know, the amount of resources you needed just to create the most basic of stuff. The PvE wasn't particularly engaging. Must be a zone that's off limits at the moment over there. No, it was a proper MMO. I haven't got it installed anymore, so I can't really... I'm not sure if you're still there, Dave, but I know you played it a lot. Or you looked like you played it a bit. No, it was a proper MMO. I can't remember what it was bloody called. I say proper MMO. It was like a MMO survival cross where everything you crafted yourself. There was no kind of a bit like more like a modern Worm online, but with PvP. It was focused around guilds and making your own company and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what it's called. But I looked at that and I thought to myself, oh, here we go. But yeah, I just didn't happen. I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it. I think the problem with that game is that it took the kind of gathery crafty thing to a ridiculous level. So, like I'm not sure if it's the same now, but you literally had to go and gather like hundreds of pieces of wood just to gain a couple of skill points, you know. And I just don't find that fun, you know. It's just not fun. I think it's just tweaked too much towards ooh, some some humanoid dudes here. What are these guys? Ruffian. These damn ruffians. I wasn't keen on the punching rocks and trees in those games though, to get you started. Again, like point back to New World, I think I quite like New World because you kind of picked sticks and rocks up off the floor to make your basic stuff. Made a bit more sense. Yeah, survival games did become more about building, whereas I would have liked a lot more PvE survival elements. I think also like the ideal open world. I mean, although I love many games, the ideal open world game is just maybe just not possible at the moment. Like I want a game where the map is huge in the sense that it takes real time to travel across it, but at the same time it needs to be an interesting world with lots of content and stuff to do. Like I want a game where I leave a location, I'm traveling to another location, and survival elements mean that I actually have to stop and set up camp and hunt for food, you know, or I'll die kind of thing, that kind of thing. But I just don't think it's probably technically, maybe with AI it's possible. I haven't played it for a bit, mate, actually, but it's definitely a keeper. I loved it a lot. That immersive, it's so immersive. The atmosphere was fantastic. And I like the jeopardy of, you know, having a bag full of stuff and trying to get out. It needs some work, obviously, still, but they did say that before they released it. It's very early. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But yeah, I'm not sure if my ideal open world survival RPG game is possible at the moment. Just from a technology point of view. Saying that though, like I think of New World's world. Like I love that, and I don't get bored of running around there. So if you had that, but it was much bigger, and there were real survival aspects where you had to rest and feed yourself, and it wasn't the case of you were just a 5-minute run from a camp or a town or something. You know, it was actually you had that kind of danger going on. That would be cool. I don't trust Amazon with anything Middle Earth, to be honest with you, mate. Not after what they did to Rings of Power. I think we're looking at Dragon Age Veilguard levels of shite. It'd probably be a nice world to run around in and stuff if they keep. Like I've seen some games implement like camping and hunting and stuff and whatnot, but it's not a necessity. You know, you're not. Certainly from an RPG point of view, it's always easier just to run to a town or something or whatever, and Yeah, do you know what? It was like it was New World that did that to me. Like I never cared for gathering in games at all until I played New World, and I just became addicted to it. And now I'm the same. Like I'm running around, and I should be killing mobs, but I just keep running from node to node. I think that's what will frustrate me when this game goes early access. I mean, I think you said they're going to look at it, so hopefully they sort it out. But I mean, I enjoy running around to a certain extent, but if I'm running around and there's no nodes, then yeah, yeah. New World did that. It was like, yeah. See, I played DayZ a fair bit, and I loved it. I loved it to a certain extent. That's the sort of thing I'm looking for: a big world, big open world, where you run around and survive. But the survival parts are kind of like compulsory, compulsory. It isn't like, well, you can camp or you can run to the next town. It's like, yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it was the dopamine thing of it. Like I had a horrible addiction to opening Magic the Gathering card packs, like back in the 90s and stuff, just to see what you were going to get. And a new set come out, and it was like an addiction. And New World was like that because they got that right. They got that thing right where the counter's going down, and you're going to get, it's like some iron ore, for example. But what else are you going to get? And you're like, oh, what am I going to get? I'm going to get like a purple or a gold. And the chest opening as well. That chest opening is a genius idea. Yeah, I've been to some other places in the world as well, but I'm going to log out soon, so I'm kind of not really. Yeah, like I wouldn't care if every MMO copied New World's chest idea, where you got these chests spread around the world. They're always in the same place, but they're on a timer, and you do like a chest run and that's the same as well. It had the dopamine hit, it had this randomness where it was like, what am I going to get? Am I going to get an epic? Or a really rare crafting item that sells for loads on the auction house. I'd love that in any game. If they put it into Stalker 2, I wouldn't care. It was Do you know those what I like about Forever Winter, but what I liked about Helldivers 2 as well is, like most of you, I guess, I'm very much on the repetitive process. On the autism graph, I'm very much on the repetitive process thing, and routine. I think it's why I survived being sick, because when I was going through the really rough times where I couldn't even go out of the house, like I created this routine for myself that kind of kept me going. And so I love games where there's like this repetitiveness, but there's an element of randomness as well. And so games like Helldivers 2 does that, and I'm sure other games have done that before that I didn't play, but Helldivers 2, where you go into a map, it's the same map with the same mobs and the same missions or whatever it is you've got to do, but there are things within the map, like the mobs, for example, that can just make every time you go. It's a bit like going into a dungeon in EverQuest, where it's designed, like the level design and the mob design and the AI is designed to a point where you go into a dungeon, as I said before, like 1,000 times, and it's a different experience, literally a different experience every time, because who knows what's going to happen. And that's what I love about those. Like Forever Winter is the same as well. Like you go into a zone, it's the same zone, but there are things that are different slightly every time you go in, so you never quite know what's going to happen. I love those. I love those repetitive games where you repeat the same thing over and over again, but there is an element of RNG that makes it slightly different, so you don't know what you're going to get. That's what I would like more games to have. I remember there's like this, like randomly, like really rarely, you go into a Forever Winter map, and it's different. Like everything has changed. You've got different mobs. The environment is a bit different. The sky is like red with like a blood red sun or moon or whatever, and it's a completely different experience. And it only happens like, I'm not sure if you can trigger it, but it only happens now and again. Those kind of random rare things I love. I hope this game has them as well. You know, it was one of the things I like about Lord of the Rings Online, which I think is fair enough. It's been in development for a long time, but I like the fact that you get these rare mobs, or just these rare boss mobs will just spawn around the world. I know modern games are quite like that kind of thing. I'd like these games to have a bit more of that going on. Just some randomness that happens. Even if you have to do some stuff to make the randomness happen, like EverQuest, for example. Kill the right mobs for a period of time and eventually some rare one spawns or something, that kind of thing, you know. At the moment, this doesn't seem to have that. It all just feels, as someone said, like generic. There's not enough going on to make it interesting. But maybe that's stuff that they will add to the game. Yeah, replayability is the key thing. And designing it in a clever way so that the process is repetitive, but the RNG, there's an RNG element there that, yeah. Well, anyway, we're playing now for nearly 3 hours, and I know I've moaned through most of it. I do apologise. But it's not through spite, it's just frustration of some old bloke who wants a new MMO experience, but we're struggling to get it. But who knows? You know, as we go ahead in development, maybe things will change. Yeah, this running around here, obviously it's an out of the way location, but there isn't really anything to do much. And I don't think it's not like a financial thing in particular, like running around New World. I know Amazon have got a lot more money, but like running around this location in New World, there might be like an elite mob or something wandering around, or a chest to open that might have something rare in it or whatever, you know. This game just needs more content at the moment, but yeah, I mean, maybe it'll get that. Even some like little secret areas, like maybe there's a little dungeon entrance here or something or whatever, you know. I saw this cracked wall and I thought, well, that looks interesting. But actually, it's kind of not. Like, I can climb up this wall, but it'd be good if there was a reason for me to climb up this wall. Yeah, I've come across some like named mobs and stuff. I think what this game has at the moment, and again, it's a content thing that hopefully will change, is it has vast areas of just blankness that needs working on. Well, I've run around a fair bit of the map, and there's been minimal content other than gathering, so I don't think that you should have to go to a certain area to find content. I think this should all be content, essentially. And I understand that it's not at the moment, potentially because they're still working on it. But yeah, certainly the introductory area and running around the area I've got here, it needs a lot more content. Oops. And I kind of just mean like random things happening, really. Right. It could be just something as simple as finding little secret locations here. You know, you climb your way to somewhere there, you find a little thing with a chest or something, or, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway, I've had enough now. I need to go and make some dinner. Or lunch, actually. Or dinner, actually, because we're trying to do like a fasting thing at the moment. I'm kind of doing like a dirty carnivore thing, where I'm not strict. But my wife wanted to try fasting, so we're kind of eating. Well, she's out, but we're kind of eating around now, and then not eating. Yeah, until tomorrow morning again. Yeah, don't know why I told you that. There you go. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll take a rain check on that, mate. I might be back later on, or I'll give you a shout. Oops, I'll give you a shout tomorrow. I'm not sure what level your characters are, but yeah, I'll give you a shout. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I moaned a lot, but you know, I try not to. Just get going. There you go. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.